Hello and welcome to Brushing Basics. Today we have Ivy on the table and we're going to show you how to properly brush your dog. The first thing you need is your slicker brush. We talked about in our first video on tools. And the first thing what you're going to do is you're going to decide on the dog how you want to brush the dog. Most groomers brush the dog from back to front. That is just because a lot of times they don't know the dog, and so if they can start in the back, it's less threatening, and if the dog's going to bite, they'll find out when they're back here, not when they're up at the head. But you, as an owner, you can start at the front or at the back. The main thing you want to do is think of your dog in quarters. So you're going to draw an imaginary line down the dog's back and an imaginary line crossed here. You're going to brush out this section, and then this section on the other side, and then this section, and then this section, and then the head is last. So that'll kind of keep you, it'll kind of keep you grounded as to where you've brushed and where you haven't brushed. So say you brush your dog and you get interrupted and you have to go answer a phone or do something, you come back, well, you know you did this quarter, so you know you still have a couple other spots to do as well. So you start with your slicker brush. Many people, the problem they have is they just go over the top, and that's how they brush their dog. And so they do this, and they say, okay, now the dog is brushed. I brushed my dog, and he should be good to go. But that's not the case. Because when you take your comb and you go through it, you'll see how tight that is. See how tight that is when it goes through? So what we want to do is we want to loosen the undercoat. So you'll take the coat, kind of lift it up, and it's just a tap. And many people come to the grooming shop and they say, when I brush my dog at home, he doesn't like it and he yips. But then the groomer gets the dog and he or she doesn't have a problem. The reason for that most likely is that when you're brushing your dog, many people will take the brush and they'll dig it in like this, so they're taking it and they're doing this, and that actually digs into the pet's skin, and that will hurt the dog, and so the dog will jump and yip and that sort of thing. And so we don't want that. So the proper way to use the brush is just a tapping, and you don't want to push real hard on the skin because you don't want to brush burn the dog. You don't want to go over the same spot a lot because that will also brush burn the dog. But you just want to make sure you're just getting the hair. And you can lift up the hair and then brush underneath. And lift up the hair and brush underneath. And once you do that, you can go over top first. Make sure you get the feet inside the leg as well. And then you can lift up, make sure you're just getting all that fur underneath. And then you take your comb and you start going through. And see, it's still a little hard to get through. So then what I do with the comb, instead of just trying to run it down, you kind of pick. It's kind of a picking action. And you pick, 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 pick. And then you pick, pick here. And you do this until the comb no longer sticks in the hair. This is why using a comb is so important, because the brush alone doesn't get those fine little bitty mats that you might have. And you want to get inside. Many people just brush the top of the dog. They don't brush underneath. You want to get underneath, you can just lift the leg up and comb underneath. And as you see now, that's going through easily. That is brushed out, that leg. And then you would move on to your next section. Normally I would move on to this section over here, but since for the camera's sake, I'm going to just do this side of the dog and then go back and do the other side. It's best to break the dog up into quarters or halves, just to keep you aware of where you've been on the dog. Because some people just start brushing and they don't know where they've missed. So if you know, okay, I've got this whole leg brushed, this whole section brushed, and then I did this set. So now I know that I've got this part of the dog brushed. If I were to be interrupted, I can just make a mental note. I've got the back half of the dog brushed, and then I can come back and do the other half of the dog. Same thing with the body hair. You just brush again. You want to just make sure you brush first, because that does loosen up all the little furs that are kind of stuck together. And then you take your comb and just glide it on through with those little picking motion. Sometimes the dog will, people say, when I try to comb my dog, he yips. One, that could be because you haven't properly got the brush in the fur, and another one might be that you're not picking, you're actually, digging into the dog. So you want it's easy, light strokes. It's nothing, nothing heavy, not heavy-handed. So I've got that part. And then I usually save the tail and the head for last. Most groomers do save the head for last, and I do as well. Once we got that side, now I'm going to go to the front leg. And one thing you want to do is make sure you get underneath. You're being a good girl, yes you are. This is a major area of matting is in here. And many times if it's matted under there, I wouldn't even want you to try to get that out. If you're brushing your dog every day, it shouldn't be matted under here. But if it is matted under here, it's a very sensitive area, and it's best just to have the groomer shave out those armpits. But she's not matted under here. Her coat's in good shape. So we're going to brush the chest along with this front leg. So we take the brush, and then we're going to take the comb. There's a little pulling there. Again, just a picking motion. You're being a good girl. Yes, you are. And make sure I get underneath. You also want to pick your pet up and do the underbelly. Underbelly is very soft. So this part you don't want to brush. Usually the groomers will shave that out. You don't want to run your brush really over that hard, because that is a sensitive area, the groin area, but you do want to get all this here. This area here sometimes mats on a male dog because they urinate on it. Sometimes you just want to have the groomer shave that out anyway. So you don't have to be as concerned with that area. But she's in good shape, so we don't have to do a whole lot of manipulating there. Here's a little, it sticks a little bit there. You can, at this point, you can either take your little mat splitter and insert it. You see, there's not even enough there to go through. It just came right out with the comb. And see, I'm getting quite a bit of hair in the comb. Something the brush wouldn't have gotten out as much. Got some out in the brush, but the rest the comb will get through. So what the brush doesn't get, the comb does. And if you see, this is what a properly brushed out dog, this is how the comb should go through. It should go through easily without getting stuck at all on any mats. And that's the proper way to brush your dog. If you have any questions, you can email us at info@supermutts.com, or visit our website, supermutts.com, and go through the Contact Us page. Or you can also ask your groomer to show you. Most groomers will be happy to show you how to properly brush your dog. Thanks for watching.